there are many parallels between art and life. One of them is the need to determine our values. When I got this pamphlet, I knew immediately I'm expected to pick A, so the answer is probably B. You know how that goes. So when we flip this panel over, like they suggest, sure enough, they're both the same. The difference is that when we drop the flap over, we've isolated the surrounding shades of light or dark that influence our eyes. When we are drawing, we use values to interpret what we're seeing. After all, these are 3D lines, 2D lines on a 2D paper. To give it a 3D appearance, we use shading. If we put the shading in incorrect spot or to an incorrect degree, it makes it really difficult to interpret. One mistake is to use too high of contrast, and another is when you're drawing, people tend to gray out everything, so you have no focal point. So the values give us a focal point, but if overused, they can remove interest in the drawing. So obviously we need to train our eyes, and we need to use something called a value finder. There are no, unlike in real life, where there are absolute right and wrong. On a value finder, there's no absolute black or absolute white. There are theoretical whites and theoretical blacks, and everything in between is supposed to go in graduated steps. So to practice producing this, you can use different media, inks, charcoal, pencils. It helps you to know what your pencils will do, what you can achieve in the way of darks with different pencils, different media. And then here I even used pieces out of a magazine to create a value scale. Always checking afterwards to see how close I came, how far out I was. My son made a ruler when he was little. He used wood like a real ruler. He put numbers on it like a real ruler, that they were where he determined they should be. And of course, you don't build anything that way. Same with our values. This is the ultimate authority. We can do it how we like. Say, well, this is pretty. It's wrong. There's 2 4s here, and they're all way too dark. I can say, I like this, and I'm going to use this for my value scale. That would be really idiotic. I did this with colors, so you can do it with colors or black and white. It's a good practice to do this. Another thing to do is to make a value scale, 3-step value scale, and carry it around with you, and throughout the day hold it up against, first making sure it actually is correct, and then when you're going throughout the day, you can, using the hole punch, isolates the shape, the tone behind it. You can see how good you get at determining your value scale, so that when it comes time to painting, you're not having to struggle to determine those things. I used values very much on this painting to carry the eye around the painting, starting with the diagonal line along the bottom and then traveling up the legs, and of course you hit this circle, the arc, and travel around here where the contrast is less, and back down. That's the use of values in a painting. But you have to first find out what they are. Establish your value first, then you can alter it to come up with the product you want to come up with in the painting. But it means first to establish what your values really are when you're looking at an object. The reason this is a can of worms is because in the art world, we say there is no bad art. Do we get to discriminate? If we say yes, then what you need to do is study that value finder, practice with your media, train your eyes, and learn to trust that authority. If your answer is no, we shouldn't be discriminating, you're free to buy this painting. It's only $500.